Hey Connor, what's going on? It's Matt Gracie here. We're on episode 16 of AEZ Canada, where we talk all things wrestling and AEW in particular. But we also have to give mention to any storylines, any good doings that's happening in the world of WWE, and maybe also from a little bit on the indie scene as well. So, how are you? How's your week so far, and how are you doing, Connor?
It's been going pretty good. Bit of slow week, but today's been pretty good. Can't complain about the wrestling. Wrestling's all week, so yeah, today's week's been pretty good.
I hear you.
How about
Good.
yourself?
Yeah, no, it's been a good week, busy week. The weather's been great here for mid-November, which is nice. We got the daylight savings times is kicked in now, so everything is like pitch black at 5:30. But nonetheless, being a Canadians, we're used to that here as well. But no, it's a good week. There's always a lot of wrestling, almost too much wrestling to keep up on. But
Yeah.
no, it's been a good week, and there's been some good storylines. Some entertaining wrestling actually coming out of both AEW and WWE. And I really think that with AEW being as prominent as it is, I think it's really been really helping WWE in the quality in the last year, especially, which is good. So it's nice. It's nice to be able to tune into both products and enjoy some quality wrestling. So which is great. I guess we can start, which you've maybe watched a little bit more than I have, but we can start with last weekend's shows and start with Rampage. If there's any notable matches that you saw that were a bit notable for you.
So for me, Ruby Soho and Red Velvet was pretty good. She came back not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that. She went against Julia Hart and she lost. But this match was pretty good with Red Velvet and Ruby Soho. It was kind of upset. Red Velvet picked up the win over Ruby Soho. With that kind of, I think it was on Collision, where that kind of, we'll get into that later, but of what this match means. But this match was pretty decent. I'm glad Red Velvet's back and getting used a bit more. So that's that. There's Ricky Starks and Preston Vance. It was a pretty decent match. Could use a little bit more time. And then there's a squash match. But the main match that really started was FTR versus Commander and El Vikingo. Very good back and forth match. Very two different cultures of wrestling. The old Southern style versus the Libre. That was a really good match. FTR won, but yeah, that's the match that stood out for me for Rampage.
So if you need, because I keep on hearing little glimpses and there's little things that maybe you know a bit more than I do, but I heard these little rumblings about what's going on with FTR. Is this like a farewell? Are they going to take a break? Are they hinting at that? Or are they, going strong? Or what do you, because what are your thoughts on that if you've heard anything?
Yeah, it's kind of the booking that they did with Ricky Starks and Big Bill winning the titles. Apparently that's what they wanted to do, but there was something was supposed to go on with the Young Bucks, and apparently that's changed now, so maybe they should have held on to the titles. I don't know. But FTR is pretty up and down right now, I would say. If we're getting the Full Gear later on in the episode, because they got a big match at Full Gear. But they haven't had too many matches since losing the belts, the tag team belts. They've had this match, and I think they had an 8-man tag a few weeks ago on Collision, maybe. But FTR is still going strong, I guess. But they're just been cooled off a little bit, I guess you'd say.
Just a question. I was a little surprised. I know Red Velvet is coming back. Yeah, I'm kind of neither here nor there on her. I know she was gone for, I think, a majority of the year with an injury. I just thought it was kind of a little strange. Why Ruby Soho? As a bit of a, and I know that then they put her again, that she won again, I think with Sky Blue, the following show with Collision, I think it was, or was it on Dynamite? And I'm not sure where they're going with Ruby Soho. I mean, is she one of the outcasts? Is it completely gone? Is she just on her own? I kind of felt there was something now. What are they doing with her? and then again, they ever lose to Red Velvet as a comeback. So I just thought it was a bit strange. I thought they were really trying to give her a push.
Yeah, I don't really like how they did the Outcast thing with Tony's. I felt like they should have had like an actual kind of like breakup. But it feels like Saray and Ruby Soho still together, but Tony's in her little, she's doing her own thing. But I felt like they should have made it more. It didn't really come off as like they broke up. It was this very. I don't know. It's not the normal breakup you would see in a group. Like you would see in a like in ring promo or backstage. Like they didn't really do that. I feel like. But yeah, yeah, they always like to have. I mean, they have Ruby Soho win here and there, but she's been putting over a lot of people. It feels like. Uh, Personally, I would have Ruby Soho win that match, but.
Yeah, I agree. I almost thought they could have done more. I know usually when they have teams break up is they felt like they've done all they could do as a team, and now they want to branch off and do their own thing. I didn't really feel that with the Outcasts. I just thought they were getting some momentum, get some titles into the stable, keeping growing that. Like you're right, and they just kind of fizzled, and then Tony Storm just decided, okay, get her out. We're going to do this character with her. And then wasn't sure is Ruby Soho still is part of the team? She's got the music, so it just felt weird. I agree. It wasn't. It should be a little more cut and dry. Where does everyone stand? Who's still friends with who? Is it even a thing, or is it not a thing? It's completely broken up, right? I don't like these limbo type storylines when there's not a clear direction with either canceling it, killing it, or there's a chance that that's going to keep going. I just kind of feels like they didn't really know what to do, and they just quickly changed. So I don't know if you kind of felt that as well with that.
Yeah, but it's kind of what AEW does sometimes, especially with breakups of teams. Not all teams, like Inner Circle and Pinnacle, exception of those two. It just wasn't clear that they broke up. Like they just kind of vanished. Like they just kind of separated. Not really.
Yeah, I do find that AEW does that more than WWE, where they just kind of have guys show up. I mean, for me, Jake Roberts is a classic example. Is he with the company? He's not with the company. He's gone for months. I know he's not the best of health. I get it. But I always thought Jake was a great for manager. And I know they brought him back again, and he's always kind of shows up. But it's a consistency where the guys disappear, come back for 3 weeks, in this recycled kind of thing. I don't know. It's something I don't really care for, because you get sort of invested, and then they kind of set a guy down, bring someone else in. So I find they do that more than WWE does with that. I don't know if that's just to do with too many people on the roster, too many knee-jerk storyline changes, new people coming into the mix to say, no, I think this is a better idea. But it kind of just feels like it kind of changes willy-nilly sometimes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, we're talking about Lance Archer, going into Collision, that was the main event. Before we get to that, we had Andrade El Idolo versus Daniel Garcia. Now, this is CJ Perry's first client, really. It was supposed to be Action Andrade. That didn't end well. Miro dominated that. But this is like her first actual true client, I guess, that she's managing. She managed Andrade. Pretty good match between the two. They're getting Daniel Garcia back into the singles action. Getting him back on individually. Andrade won this match. It was a very good match, though. And it looks like that they might be setting up for a full gear match, maybe. They haven't announced it yet. Andrade versus Miro, but that feels like it's going to happen at some point. Them two crossing paths.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. The Andrade and oh my god, what's his name?
Daniel Garcia.
Daniel Garcia, yeah, sorry. No, I thought it was a good match, and they did get a "This is awesome" chant. Daniel Garcia, he's always reliable. He's definitely a reliable guy. I'm glad to see Idolo getting a little more of a push because I've always liked him. I always thought he was a great wrestler. I thought he did great when he was at NXT. The way he dominated, I thought they could have done more with him in WWE. It kind of fizzled out, the early kind of he was on the up and up, and then just never kind of got where he's supposed to. I thought there was a lot of potential with him there, especially with like Zelina Vega. I thought that was a good matchup or a good team up in WWE, but we'll see. This is kind of an interesting pairing. So I really hope that she's going to be complimenting and it works out as a team, not just a squash match just to give for Miro. Because again, I think Idolo is much better for that, especially since his wife is a friggin' one of the top female wrestlers of all time, and you're going to pair him with CJ. I don't know. I just hope they do it well. He's a great wrestler. There's a lot of potential. So I hope they work with this and get some consistency with him.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite matches of the night. After that, we have Roderick Strong versus Daniel Garcia. It's really crazy how they do the Roderick Strong stuff because he hasn't wrestled that much in AEW. He's had a handful of matches, but they're really selling this neck brace thing. But it was really funny how he's in a wheelchair and all this. He gets out of the chair and then wrestles a 15-minute match and then wins. Then gets back in the chair like he's hurt. This was a pretty good match, I thought. Mainly because some of the comedy in it. It's just crazy. The what does he call it? The Neck Brace Awareness Month. I believe that's going to be the yearly thing in November. Neck Brace Awareness Month. But that just cracked me up. Like, he's in this wheelchair all the time. He gets out of it, wrestles for 15 minutes, wins, and then he's back in it.
You know what? Actually, I don't mind this character. I was a little coming high on Roderick, on Roddy. I know he's a good wrestler, and followed him, in NXT. He obviously was a huge there. But I do like this character. And I find that, again, when you mentioned he hasn't wrestled that much, it's like taking that same heel approach that they took with MJF. MJF like never wrestled. He was always there. He was big in character. He really built up. He wrestled once in a while, but they kept that nostalgia about him. They kept something special about him. They didn't overuse him. And when he actually did wrestle, it was actually like, oh, MJF is wrestling. So I kind of feel that they're kind of doing that. Obviously, they're playing the whole injury thing, and which I think is hilarious. I love that they're doing this. I love this whole like screaming at Adam. I still like that. So I like what they're doing. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. Pairing up with the Kingdom, they're all pretty entertaining. So we'll see. And again, my money is I still think that they're behind the mask, the team there. I mentioned that last time. I still think it's them.
It would be a good throw off. Like, he's in this wheelchair, and no one's really thinking it's him. It's either Adam Cole, Britt Baker, and other people. It's not really Roderick Strong. I really like the character he's got going. I like the stupidity in it. Like seeing like non-wrestling fans. Like I was with some of my friends watching, and like they're like, how is he in this wheelchair and he's wrestling? Then he actually can't wrestle. I really like that. It's really funny, really entertaining. He's a really good wrestler. He did really good in that match. He hasn't really had a bad match in AEW. He hasn't had that many, but he's always been really good in wherever he's been. NXT, WWE, AEW. He's always been good. But he beat Darius Martin in that one half of the Top Flight.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since.
Yeah. So are both guys from Top Flight back, or is the other brother hurt now too?
Can you still see me?
Yeah, you're just you're frozen.
Oh,
but I can hear you. That's okay. You can just keep talking, and maybe you're.
I'll just. Well, yeah. Dante Martin got injured. One of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views. He literally twisted his ankle to the opposite side. But it's like this thing that when one of them comes back, the other gets injured. Then when the other one's healthy, the other one gets injured. That's kind of how it goes with them.
That's the way it definitely feels. Like they haven't. Whenever they get together as a tag team, it feels. I don't know. They maybe get a month together, and then one of them's hurt. I know there's been some bad accidents. I think not Dante. What's the one here that wrestled?
Darius Martin.
Darius, because he was in like a bad car accident, wasn't he?
Yeah, a few months back. Yeah, he was in a car accident. He had just came back too and got in a car accident.
Oh, that's insane. But yeah, hopefully they get to actually see these guys back as a tag team. I still think they could be champions. One day they've got some good personality, but every time it gets broken up, then they don't get an opportunity to do that. So I guess as we wait for Connor to come back, let me just look up. We've got some other matches from Collision. Hopefully, Connor is going to be back.
All right, you.
There he is. We can. I didn't get into anything, so you can edit that.
The whole thing just collapsed. Yeah, crazy. We were talking about the one comes back, the other one gets injured, and the other one comes back, and the other one's already injured. It's a rotating cycle with them. I think they can be tag champions, but they really need to change their move set up a little bit. So that's what a lot of people in AEW. They would change up their moveset just a little bit. That could prevent injuries from happening on a regular. Because the only one except Darby, he wrestles through it all. Broken arm. He'd probably wrestle with scars and everything over his body. But I really think Top Flight can be tag champions in AEW, but they really need to work on their moveset in ways that they can go longer without getting injured, because that's been the constant problem with them. Like, they probably could have already won them if they wouldn't have been injured.
Well, that's the thing is they're so young. Like, they have to really watch if they want any kind of like longevity. Obviously the nature of their style is very acrobatic, right? Which also leaves you open for, knees, hurt your knees, shoulders, back, neck, ankles. So they might have to change their style up if they more of a grappling style. Again, they're so young to have this many injuries. How's that going to, I don't know if they'll be as lucky. I mean, you've got someone like a Jeff Hardy who's battled and he's managed to still keep wrestling, but he's gone through his challenges and demons because of trying to cope with a lot of the pain that was caused by that type of style. So hopefully they can see, maybe they can change their character a bit. Maybe it's not as acrobatic defined. Maybe they change it up that way and get better at telling a story as a character and not always relying on the acrobatics to define who they are. Maybe help with their longevity.
Yeah, I think AR Fox is really helping them a little bit. Before he got injured, I think that because he has a really good style of doing the moves and it lands perfectly. Like, he lands everything perfectly. I think that someone like him could rub off on some guys like Top Flight, readjust their moves. And I'm not saying like them do like completely no high flying, but really just work on how you do it. Like, not do like 15 different finishing moves in one match. But that was one match. We had well, I guess we can go to Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale match. Up to what I was talking about on Rampage. They had two matches going into this triple threat match at Full Gear, with Chris Statlander versus the women matches of Sky Blue and Red Velvet, and the other side, Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale. Which this match was the first match of that mini tournament, I guess. It was a pretty decent match. Julia Hart did pick up the win, so she will go on to Full Gear to go against Chris Statlander. The it was a pretty decent match. I thought this was one of the best matches that Julia Hart's had and on TV. She's really improved since being with the House of Black. They've
Yeah.
really uh, taken her under their wing, and she's got three people: Malachi, Buddy, and Brody. That like all different. Like Buddy, you go for the move set. Malachi, you go for the story, and Brody, you go for I don't know, the intimidating part. So you got all three of that in one. Uh, yeah, I think Julia might be next team's champion pretty soon.
Yeah, that was a decent match. It's just tough, the size difference, right? And to watch like a
Yeah,
Nightingale get pinned with a moonsault at the end. I think um, I'd really like to see them change. I know Nightingale, her persona is to be this bubbly, big, happy, ball of energy type character. But I think they could also use her, like if they made her go more heel, turn into her like almost like a Nia Jax, more of a dominant, use her size for crushing, more like squash matches to big her up. I think it might be time, kind of like in how Nyla Rose has just kind of fizzled out and like but I think it's time. They need someone like that because who really, besides Jade Cargill, who left, who else on the women's side of things is really almost threatening that you feel like, oh yeah, she could go, right? I feel there used to be a lot more of that, but that's kind of calmed down. So I think it's time. I think they could change up her persona, which I guess that's maybe what they're doing with Sky Blue. I think that's
yeah,
what they're doing. If we're going to talk about Sky Blue's match and like just the way she looks now and her makeup, is this leading to the House of Black and that side of things, or what are they doing with Sky Blue? Because she's definitely changing her character.
yeah, yeah. Quite a few. At first, we thought that Willow Nightingale was going to change her gimmick there for a minute, but that didn't really happen. It was Sky Blue who really went under the character and a whole different look. After that match, we got the main event, which was an all-star match in my opinion. Sting Darby and Edge versus Lance Archer and the Righteousness. We were talking about Lance Archer earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if this is going to be a new group or just a one-time thing, or but Jake St. Roberts was in their corner. It was a pretty good match in my opinion. It's still weird seeing Sting and Edge in the same ring. That's never happened. We've seen it at Wrestle Dream, but in an actual match them together. It's never happened before. This was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, no, it's definitely got some. And you saw Darby's, my God, his arm couldn't be any
Yeah,
more wrapped up. But I love the fact that I like this team with Lance Archer and the um, Outlanders. What do they call again? What are their names?
oh, the Righteousness.
The Righteousness. Yeah, no, and I love that, and I think it's a great combo, and I actually love that they're all kind of wearing white, which is great, and they actually look like more like a team. Um, and Jake Roberts, I like that. I like stuff. I mean, I just hope, like, I think there's room to build with this team, and again, you had them in the main event against, some of the biggest stars in AEW at the moment. So I think that definitely says something about having them go up against these guys in a main event match. So we'll see how that turns out. But again, I think Lance Archer needs to be around more often. He's a big dominating guy. They need that.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is the start of a new faction, and I'm all about it. I think it's definitely, there's room for them for sure.
We were talking about last week the trios division, them not having any teams, and this would be a good team to, I don't know, maybe take the titles off of the Claimant and Billy Gunn. They got a lot of options for that. They got the World Club Gold, the BCC, and in this episode, talking about the BCC, Bryan Danielson makes his return a little bit. Tony Khan and Bryan Danielson announced that they're going to do a round robin tournament called the Continental Championship, I believe, a 12-person tournament, which will go across all the shows after Full Gear, starting in Chicago. The Dynamite next week's Dynamite, and the finals will go through. But the matches go through World's End in December, and the finals will be in World's End at World's End. Bryan Danielson is the only person announced for it, but he made his return. very weird. I thought he was going to be out for the rest of the year, but apparently he's gearing up for his own AEW's own G1 tournament.
So is this a new belt they're going to be coming out with?
I think it's just a yearly tournament type thing, like basically like the King of the Ring, like you win and you're just a yearly champion.
Kind of like the Owen Hart tournament where they got a belt to hold but there's no actual title. It's just like a trophy, pretty much.
I think Danielson wanted to do the G1, but he can't. I don't think his body's going to let him. I feel like he's just he's putting in all the gas right now until it's empty. Like he's this whole year he's gonna give everything he has. He's just gonna give it all. Like all the gas he has left is gonna run out this year. He's gonna run up to the ground. I feel like that's what he's gonna do.
Guess what? Have we got another member that's joined on? Cody,
hey guys,
how's it going, buddy?
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, maybe we can turn it up a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So
Well,
I missed this past week's AEW, but I did watch the whole thing with the. I forgot what the game they called it.
Oh, the Sega, the Street Fight, the
Yeah.
Sega game. Yeah, that was Now we did talk about this on the Talking Elite it was our Dynamite review. Cody had a pretty interesting story. What we was talking about there with Collision, that was pretty much the end of Collision, the main event, and the Brian Danielson stuff. Cody brought up an interesting story on Talking Elite, which we did not get the full extended version. So I thought it'd be fitting. AEZ Canada. You're from Winnipeg, is that right?
Saskatchewan, Prince Albert.
And you're in Manitoba, you said right now? Is that what you said?
Saskatchewan. I'm in between Alberta and Manitoba.
Yeah, so I thought this would be fitting to get the full extended version on here. So yeah, you can. I'm really intrigued to hear the full story of this.
Okay, so I started going to wrestling shows like 2 years ago, just checking it out, just because I wanted to be a wrestler for a long time, and I decided to go to this show called CWE, and it was in my hometown. So I thought I'd check it out, and then I ended up meeting all the wrestlers beforehand, and I helped with the ring setup and everything. And then I don't know, I got shown how to build the ring, how to everything, how it's built. It was pretty cool, learning all that stuff and just talking to all the guys about their stories and stuff. But then the matches started happening. One of my buddies, I guess, from high school was in one of those matches. He was second match in, so he came out after his match and took off his gear and started watching. And so he sat beside me, not knowing that we knew each other, and we started talking and realized we wrestled in high school against each other, and had a 6-minute match against each other, which was unheard of at that point in time, where we're at. And the referee called for the whistle, and then we thought it was our mat. It turned out it was another guy's mat. So we just stopped there, looked at each other. We're just what the hell's happening? We weren't even on the mat. And it turned out it was another referee whistling. So we thought our match was done. And then I don't know. We hit it off again, and then recognized oh, you used to wrestle in high school? I did too. Where'd you wrestle? And then so and so, and then we're just which year did you wrestle? It's 2019. So it's and then it all added up, and then turned out we wrestled the same category in Warman the same year. And then I was were you that guy with the ponytail, that really jacked guy everybody thought was on steroids? And then he's yeah, lost the ponytail, as you can see. But during that show, he gave me a bunch of contacts for wrestling just to get into it, and because I told him about all the stuff I wanted to do for wrestling. So then I don't know, a week or two goes by, then he messages me, hits me up to go on a tour with them, just to help ring crew for CWE, which is Canadian Wrestling's Elite. splitters, and so I went on a tour with them for 3 days. Well, 3 different shows in Yorkton, Regina, and we did a BEW show in Warman. So the third day. So the first two were CWE and the last one was BEW. And by the time like we're done all the CWE shows, I'm just doing ring crew. I'm just like learning the ropes and stuff, literally. And so we make it to Warman, and the guy he wanted me to talk to about training and stuff, he's the guy that run it. So I was like, okay. So we're there probably about 3-4 hours before showtime, like before a bunch of the wrestlers even show up. And I don't know, we just started like doing like training in the ring. He was like, you want to learn how to run the ropes? You want to learn how to bump? Let's bump. So I hit the ropes and stuff, and I was really like, it was so bad. I got bad whiplash, like really bad, because my neck, I misstepped and I didn't count my steps right, and I stepped too far away from the rope. So my neck kind of hit the rope and bent around the rope. And that happened to me 3 times in a row. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why people say it's no joke. Don't try this at home. And like, I don't know, I was under the impression that there's like pads or something, like extra like protection for the ring. No, it's just like a thin like wrestling mat and then 2x4s and metal beams underneath.
How did it feel when you're taking the bumps?
I thought I got a concussion, the first one, and then the second one, like every time I hit, I got dazed. Every time I, like even the simplest, like from your like kneeling and then hitting your back on the mat, I seeing like flashing lights. I was like, holy shit! I don't know how people can like take power bombs if I'm just like standing and like at a squat and then falling to my back and I'm almost like knocked out. How are people taking power bombs off top ropes? Like that's what blew me away the first time like training. I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Like I thought this was going to be a little bit easier. I thought I was going to be able to do some shit like off the ropes right away. But it turned out I'm better with the ropes than I am the ring. So like they did a wrist lock on me, and I went, grabbed the rope, did the front flip, back flip thing, then did the arm drag out of it. And then they're just like, what the fuck? Where did you learn that? How did you learn how to do that? Because they didn't teach me anything like that before it. They just taught me like, okay, run off the ropes, take shoulder tackle, run off the ropes, take a lariat, run off the ropes, like take a bump, like do a flip over, like just simple stuff. But like they're shocked when I knew how to get out of like the walls of Jericho, or like I knew how to take a snap mirror. And like lots of people, there's like as soon as the guy did the snap mirror to me, because he was just randomly hopped in the ring and just started doing moves on me. He didn't know I was training and just didn't know anything. Like I only bumped for an hour, and I'm like, he does snap mirror to me, and then he is like gonna go for the penalty kick, and I like lean back and then I roll him up, and there's like shock that I knew like simple stuff like that. But I don't know, I think that somewhat got my foot in a little bit better for the next thing, because like I don't know, 2 weeks goes by again, I hear nothing from this guy, and all of a sudden he messages me saying like, oh, we need a referee for a show on RCW in Idam. So I go, okay, well, I've never refereed before. I was more nervous about refereeing than I was about training, because I was like, what if I miscount? What if I have to be loud. I have to, the crowd has to hear me. So and I don't like being in front of people and talking like much, which is quite ironic. But I don't know. It just felt weird for me because my voice was shot that day too, like really bad. It sounded like I smoked like 50 packs of cigarettes before I went out there. I was like, holy crap, I don't know if I could do this. So we get there like 3 hours ahead of time again. So I'm helping ring set up there. It's the same thing as the other shows, same type of rings. And then we make it back to the back there, and then there's like, oh, we're short guys. Apparently 3 of the guys got injured, or like a guy didn't show. But anyways, they were like short like 3 guys in the end. So they had to call it on the spot and change the whole show, like the card, and it turned into a round robin for the title, just out of nowhere.
Wow.
And I got thrown into the round robin. Me and another guy that was supposed to ref. But apparently this other guy had like a year of training. But
so were you? They wanted you to jump in as a wrestler as well as referee some matches.
So there was a stipulation for the match because I wrestled a guy named Kato, which was probably the best bet for me, saying that he was one of the more veteran of them that was there, like probably the safer worker, because like his finisher is a stunner. So like I'm not gonna get spiked. I'm not gonna get like stuff like that. So it seemed pretty safe, but then you're wrestling, so it's not really safe.
So what did you wear? What did you have to wear?
My buddy that got me to go there, I had the most generic red shorts, like trunks, that they're like the boxer trunks, but they were so short that they ride it up like trunks. So like you could see like my ass, and I'm just like, okay, this isn't how these are supposed to fit. And I was like really uncomfortable being out in the ring because like I didn't have any pads on. I looked like one of the strong style New Japan guys from like 2001, like the generic like red trunks, and then the like regular wrestling high school wrestling shoes and no pads. Just that's it. Just and like Minoru Suzuki but red trunks.
Nice.
But like I don't know, it was weird because like I had to come up with a name like on the spot. Like already I had a wrestling name, but I just decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna go with my shoot name. So I went with my Cody Bear, and I came out to Avenge Sevenfold. I came out to Afterlife, and I got popped. Like people went like crazy when I came out. And I was like, this is my first ever wrestling match. They don't even know it. They don't know that I've only like ever trained for an hour max. And like I go, and the referee tells me beforehand, he's like, okay, so the stipulation for the match is going to be whoever loses this match will have to referee the rest of the matches. That's how we're going to have to divvy up the refereeing, because there's going to be 2 referees. They have to switch out mid. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. So it gets thrown into a round robin. I get matched up in the second match of the night. First match like goes really well. The guys knock it out of the park. Second match comes on, and I'm nervous as shit. We went over it a little bit in the locker room, just like seeing like what moves can you do. Like you trained for 1 hour. What moves am I gonna do? So I was like, I know how to suplex, and then I was like, I know how to lariat, I know how to take moves. Like I've been backyard wrestling since I was 12, 10, and just like taking like flip pile drivers and taking like I would jump off my 3-story house onto like a mattress and like crush like a fucking. I had this like wetsuit that I filled up with a bunch of different like anything, like clothes, pillows, stuff like that, just anything that had weight, to the point where that thing was like 200 pounds, and it was just a wetsuit zipped up and just had a pillow for a face. I don't know. And then I just like I would do moves to it all day long. Like I would do front flip pile drivers off of the chair. I do like elbow drops off of my 3-story house. I'd do like crazy shit just to see if I could do it. I was like,
you never hurt yourself? That's crazy.
I did break my collarbone, That was because I jumped backwards trying to do a moonsault off the top of a ladder, and then I landed awkwardly on like my neck here onto like a chair that was laying sideways, and I totally missed the mattress. I just hit the ground, and it was just grass, and dirt. So that was a fun talk to the doctor, but
Wow.
then
So how was the match? Like how was the communication in the ring? Because he's got to say like, okay, what's coming up next? Like I always like I watch, and especially if it's loud. How do you hear? I mean, if especially with the different languages, sometimes I think like when there's supposed to be communication, I was thinking how if guys Japanese doesn't and you don't speak Japanese, they don't speak English, how do they communicate so well?
most of it, honestly, like I could see how they can do it without even like with the language barrier now. Seeing that like it's mostly just like muscle memory at that point. If you if you know how to do the Olympia with your opponent, you just say one word and they'll know what to do for that part of the match. So like you could say Olympia for the start, and then you guys do the running the ropes, do the under over, do the drop kick to the guy, whatever, showboat, and then that's the Olympia. Or then you do the super indie where you do that, but then the guy goes to the outside, and then you do like a suicida or like you do like a tope over top instead of doing the last part of the other one.
Mm.
So like it just depends also on like what they call it where they're from. So like there's like different moves, different names for different moves depending on where you're at. Like
So how long was your first match then?
was about 6 minutes,
Were
but
you
it
exhausted?
I honestly I was fine afterwards, but like the chops I took, holy crap! Because in the back, I'm a rookie, so I have to get initiated. So like 20 guys come up to me, chop, chop, chop to the chest, like, and I just gotta take it because like I'm a new guy. So like before I even get out there, my chest is all fucked. My chest is all red, like everything. Like I'm seeing welts already. People are just like, "Oh, this guy's been fighting the whole time he's been back there." Hey, it's like I'm just like, well, I guess like technically, yeah. And so I'm just like worried this whole time that like, am I gonna mess up the show? What am I gonna do? Like, is this guy gonna kill me? Like, am I gonna mess up and like hurt this guy by accident? Like, what if I drop him directly on top of his head on a brain buster instead of a suplex? Like, I all that was going through my mind, and then all of a sudden there's like, you're on board. I was like, oh.
No.
And there's these steps going up towards the landing where you have to like go to outside into the arena, and then so I'm walking up these steps just thinking like, what am I gonna do? Like I'm scared shitless. I'm just hoping the security guy that I'm like press play when I get out there. That's all I was hoping for. The guy to press play. The security guy did not press play. I was like, okay, I'd like to at least watch back on my first match. Like that would have been cool, but like I was like asking even if they did like videos for the show, and they don't, not for that promotion. And I was like, okay. So I make it out to the ring, and I go to the far side to the rope, and I'm trying to like do the Randy Orton thing to the crowd, I guess, on the middle rope, and then I slip, fall backwards, do a back roll, and then I handspring up into a backflip by accident.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking, okay, well, if that looked half cool, then I'm okay. If that looked like it was all just a botch, I'm gonna be on Botchmania. So I was like, do I make Botchmania or do I make something out of this? So then the guy comes out to the ring. He's like, "You're green, aren't you?" Like, yeah. It's like just sell the fuck out of it. I was like, okay. So we lock up. I push him to his corner, and then I like do the whole like pat the chest thing. Then of course I'm just like, screw it. I just start chopping the shit out of him. Chopped him like 5 times. And then I grab him and I try to Irish whip him to the other side. And then he do-si-dos me in the middle. So I go to the other corner instead of him. And then he comes and starts hitting me with a bunch of chops. I was like, holy shit. I was not prepared for that. I didn't know how hard I was supposed to chop him. So I was like going like probably about that far, like that far away from him, like just repeated like quick chops.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going like way back, like way back. I was like, okay, that's okay. I know now. So then he drags me out with one arm in the corner and gives me a short arm lariat, and I'm on the ground and he's cheering and stuff, doing showboating. And then I get up like slowly, and then he's like trying to lift me up. And then he gets me into like the suplex position. I kick, like I start kicking, and then I get him in the suplex position. We tease like whoever's going to do it first, who's going to land the suplex. And then we did that like 2 times, and then I won out of it. So I suplexed him out, but I did not realize how like fast I was going to do it. But like it was a rank snap suplex. Like his lower back hit way before. I just like snapped his legs right over my head. And I was like, holy shit. I was worried about it being more like a brain buster, not like I'm just sending this guy across the ring. And like this guy's like my size, but he's like 30 something. So he gets me with a receipt, starts chopping the shit out of me again. And then he's like, next time chop right. It's like, okay. So Iris whips me into the middle. And then I hit the other ropes, come back, and I duck the lariat, hit the other rope, hit him with the lariat, pop up, and then I go to the corner, start showboating. I'm just like, yeah, and that's where my voice cracks. And then I'm just like, oh no. My voice just like went straight, like gone. And here I'm just like saying, yeah, let's go. And nothing's coming out. It just sounds like white noise. I'm just like, oh my God. And then I slip again on the ropes. This time I end up like how Miz ends up when he does the lariat in the corner with the legs through the middle rope. Yeah, it did not look pretty. It looked like I was in the tree of woe. I put myself in there. And so he comes up to me, gets up, sees that I messed up, comes to the corner and grabs me by the back of the head, turns me around facing the corner. No, facing him. And then he like pulls me a little bit from the corner, and then he hits me with a stunner. And I wasn't prepared for the stunner. I did not like realize that was the part of the match we were at. I lost track. And he hits me with the stunner because there was too many Irish whips going to each corner and too many chops. I was like, which part are we at? We did that like 3 times in this match. And so he hits me with the stunner. My jaw jacks up because I hit right here, and I don't protect it at all. I just drop straight down, and it just like everybody thought I got knocked out right away because my legs were still on the middle rope. So it was kind of like how Randy Orton does the Tower of London, like RKO. Yeah, it was like a stunner from the middle rope like that with my legs caught, and I kick out at 2. He told me in the back, kick out of the stunner. It's like, okay. So he picks me up. I pick him up. No, he picks me up after that. And then I spin him around. And I was going to go for like a forearm to the back of the head. But then he ducks it. And I end up like going into the referee. And then he hits me with a low blow, rolls me up for the W.
Nice.
So I did not get beaten fair, like clean.
So you got a rematch. You got to settle.
Yeah, but
He's actually interested in it. He's interested in a rematch. I still have contact with him over Instagram.
That's cool. How many people were you wrestling in front of for your first match?
Probably about 350 to like 400.
Wow.
It was in like a auction farm place.
Wow, That's pretty good. That's pretty big for your first match. A lot of time guys are wrestling in front of like 40 or 50 people, but for you to go on and have your first match in front of like 300 to 400 people, that's pretty significant for your first match when you're starting. So yeah, good on you. That was a good story. So keep it up. You got to keep us up to date on anything else that you're doing and your little journey. And I'm going to have to live vicariously through you. It's always something I wanted to do when I was younger. I've never
That's what
actually
for
been
Chris.
in a wrestling ring. I've always wanted to be. That's so one of the things I've always wanted to run the ropes and just be in there or even take a bump. But everyone who's said they've ever gone in there are surprised at how hard the actual mat is. They think it's like
Yeah.
super spongy and they hit hard, especially when you're doing bump after bump after bump. Guys were saying, yeah, really sore. So good on you.
Next time you go to a show, just take the time to like if it's an indie, just you can usually just go right up to the mat like during like the intermission. You just feel the mat. Just feel how hard that is like on the apron even. And then like hit it like you're counting for like a 2 count or something. Touch the ropes too. Because like people are just, what are the ropes made of? It's like mostly steel cable wrapped in tape. Like there's no give really. Like the give is that like, oh, it's loose. We have to tighten it up, or else somebody's gonna die trying to do a moonsault.
Oh my God.
Now, I remember you telling me something about Kenny Omega and something about that.
Kenny and Danny Dugan used to be a tag team, and Danny Duggan is the guy that runs CWE. He actually had like a segment. I remember he told me that he had a segment in WWE where he was like a security guard, just like how MJF did. But that was like 2005, 2004. But like apparently he's related to Hacksaw Jim.
Oh yeah, he's part of the Duggan dynasty.
And Harry, like I met Harry Boy Smith Jr. there. I met.
Oh,
So if you guys actually wanted to know like who the big wrestler names are like in my area around there, like there's Shawn Martin's the headline. Then there's Tyler Adams and Tony Novak, which are the Rocket Shoes. There is Danny Dugan. There is the Canon Corporation. There's Rich King. The whole like the Rads. They have a YouTube, and it's worth checking out. It's like being the elite, but like more indie, so they're allowed to get away with a lot more. It's funny, but those guys like just learning from like the stories and stuff from them. It's crazy the amount of knowledge. Cause like meeting like guys like even like James Storm, and pretty soon here there's a show in Prince Albert again, and Ultimo Dragon is gonna be there
Nice.
from WCW.
Very cool. So Connor, do you want to? I guess I know we're coming on the 53 minute mark here of the podcast. Do you want to? I know, and thanks, Cody. That was actually a really interesting story. I love hearing when guys are starting out and just what they feel, and that the whole process. And because I can only imagine having the butterflies. So that's very cool. So thanks for sharing that story. That was really interesting. Connor, do you want to go into? I know we went over Rampage and Collision from last week. We can kind of quickly touch on Dynamite from this week. So, and if you've got a couple of key matches that you think are worth mentioning.
So the main match I feel like everyone's talking about is sponsored by Sega. The video game is called The Man Who Erased His Name. It's a street fight, 4-on-4. The Golden Jets, Jericho and Omega. Jericho and Omega, Paul White and Kota Ibushi versus Brian Cage, Kyle Fletcher, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the Kosuke and the Keshta. A very interesting match. It went all over the place. Someone got through onto a car, went through tables, went through everything. This match was was the match everyone's talking about. I feel like after in that episode, which there were some other good key moments of the episode, but this was the main. I feel like the main match of the night. But what was your what was some of your favorite moments of this match?
Uh, so I didn't see. So it's weird. I was watching it. I'm like, where is? I'll still say Big Show because he's just Big Show to me. I'm like, where is he? I watched the 10-minute clip, and I was trying to find where he was. Where was he in the match? I mean, what I was watching, I thought was a funny bit. Was when they got Hobbs and they taped them all up and giving him the shots, and then Brian Cage came in, and I mean, it was pretty entertaining. I don't know. I'm kind of getting over some of these matches. The stadium matches were all over the place. They're in the hallways and they're throwing like pop and throwing each other on the merch tables, garbage cans. And Jericho seems to be involved in almost all of them. I mean, they're entertaining, but I'm just kind of a bit over it. But yeah, I guess I like seeing the team of Kenny and Jericho. I love that, having the Golden Jets and having that kind of that Winnipeg team up. I like that for finally. I'm glad they're doing it, and they're especially during the end of Jericho's. I guess his career is going to be coming to a slowdown. I'm assuming probably sooner than later, but I thought it was kind of a funny how they all came in the shirts and ties. And I saw someone that posted a meme said when they had the four of them walking in, he's like, "I'm going to tell my kids this was evolution."
Yeah.
I see that one.
Yeah. So, but what did you guys think? Again, where was Big Show? I missed him in any highlights I saw. I didn't even see him.
Was he? I seen one highlight of him on the ramp with Kyle Fletcher and him doing the chokeslam off the stage and hitting a few like world's strongest punches, but like that was about it. That's all I've seen of him.
The thing that took him out of the match was Powerhouse Hobbs basically chokeslammed him onto a car. Basically, that was pretty. I hope he's okay after that because that was a pretty for a big guy like that. The surgeries that he's had, the injuries. You guys can probably find it on YouTube or something. But I think he chokeslammed or slammed him or something onto this maybe van or maybe a limo or something, but that whole thing was they ruined everything about that front end of that car.
Was that a Jungle Boy car? Or with
It
real
probably
glass?
was. It probably was one of those cars, but that's what really took him out of the match. Once Powerhouse Hobbs chokeslammed, the power bombed him onto the car. That pretty much took him out of the match. My favorite spot of the match was Brian Cage. He suplexed Kenny Omega over those two tables.
Yes.
We were talking about that on Talking Elite earlier. And someone posted a fan that was there, like a slow motion. It looks more painful watching it from a fan's camera on TV. That looked pretty bad.
And Kyle almost got caught. Kyle Fletcher had to roll out of the way for that.
Yeah, he was the main one that got busted open, I think. I think Jericho may have got busted open.
I did see Kyle Fletcher did have some blood running down, but I saw that hit. And I sometimes watch how guys grab certain body parts. Especially when they sell, they're supposed to just like lie there as if they're unconscious. But Mega was holding the top because it looked like either when he came down, he might have smashed his head on the end of one table, that was going through, but like bang, and I was like, oh, that it kind of reminded me of some Spike Dudley. But he did like Kenny. Gotta hand it to Kenny. For someone at his caliber, he still puts his body. He puts some stuff in the positions where I'm like, you're Kenny Omega. Do you really need to be doing this? I mean, I know he's still performing. He's still, hey man, I'm not taking any shortcuts here, but that one looked like it really stung. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a huge welt on his head from that one.
Yeah, I could only imagine waking up to that, or like all the job responsibilities after that, But Kota Ibushi was on the bicycle.
Holy shit.
And the clothesline from Brian Cage, his whole face hits the bicycle. Once he clotheslines him, he flips, and his head hits the tire of it. I'm surprised he didn't get busted open after that.
Wow.
The suplex onto that bike oh my god, that
Yeah.
bike pedal went right into his back, like right into it, and he grabbed right where that pedal hit. That was a metal pedal. I was like, oh my god. Oh,
See, those are things that I don't think that are necessary. Like I get there's a crap, but when you're doing stuff, and again, stuff like that can puncture your organs, they can break a rib, do some lot of damage just for the sake of a spot. Like, you know, um, like again, I know I mentioned before in other podcasts we talked about with like a Darby Allin, for example. Where you don't need to do that. You don't need to sacrifice. We know your stuff. We know what you can do. Stop. We want you to be a competitor for years to come. Stop, like almost trying to kill yourself to entertain us now. So that's kind of stuff I'm. Again, the stuff that kind of drives me a bit crazy. Like the guys feel they have to go so extreme to get a pop, but they don't even necessarily know that they could be done, really injuring themselves.
there was lots of part in that match that I just screamed at, because like Ibushi taking the pile driver through that table thing, and then all the chairs, like his back, you could see it bend when he took it. Like I thought that was pretty rank. Like, and his head hit first. You could see where the knees are and where his head is, and his head hit before his knees. That was a rank bump.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Overall, I thought this match was pretty good. There's some other good matches during the night. Opening match was what was it? It was Orange Cassidy and Hope versus Moxley and Lita. That was a pretty good match. The stuff that ended the show was MJF stuff with Jay White. That was some pretty good stuff. We had the Hangman and Swerved. That was a pretty intense promo. Some of the stuff I didn't know about Swerved, about his wife and kids, and he brought it all to the forefront. Which Swerve started it. He did a home invasion, so
yeah,
he got all the dirty laundry.
I was actually pretty impressed at Hangman's promo and his delivery, and he got a bit dirty, and he had that fire, which again, that's the fire that Strickland has been trying to get out of him, saying he's weak and he's not the same guy anymore. That was a pretty good delivery, so I was actually pretty impressed with Hangman on that one.
Yeah, that was pretty much wrapped up for Dynamite. I feel like we got Rampage. Friday we got Rampage and Collision both. We'll cover that next week. I thought this was a pretty good
Bucks and
Penta
oh yeah, that's I didn't see that one. I didn't see that.
Was good. That was so good. They did so many crazy things that I haven't even seen in a match before.
Yeah, that was and I believe that was their hometown, right? The Young Bucks. They were in their hometown,
and they got booed. They got booed in their hometown because they went straight for deliberate nut shots, to both of them.
It feels like they're going back heel, which that leads to their match at Full Gear against the Golden Jets. And if the Young Bucks lose, they lose their tag team title shot.
They had a brawl on Dynamite 2 this week, but before the Bucks. Like after the Bucks match and before the street fight, they had a brawl backstage. They only attacked Jericho.
Yeah, they didn't attack Kenny.
No, but Kenny got hit. I seen Kenny get punched in the arm, but that was like nothing. You didn't even notice it. But
yeah, we got Full Gear this Saturday, right?
Yep. I'm kind of when the Golden Jets win and they take that tag team title shot, and they win and they become the new tag team champions.
I like seeing them as a team, especially with their history and stuff.
Yeah, it's a team that very different. Kind of like Hangman and Kenny when they won the tag titles, very different. But they were a really good team together. So hope they win the tag titles. But that pretty much does it for our Dynamite review. We did Rampage and Collision. This Saturday we got Full Gear. It should be a good pay-per-view. I guess before we go, what match each of us are we looking forward to for Full Gear?
I'm. Is it Christian Cage and Adam?
I believe it's Edge, Darby, and Sting versus Christian, Nick Wayne, and Luchasaurus.
I think that's going to be a good one. I think there's a lot of moving parts. I think there's going to be a big pop to watch those two finally get in the ring together. So I think there's a lot of good momentum, a lot of good storytelling to be done. So I think that's going to be a really good match. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, what about you, Cody?
Probably going to be the street fight with Hangman and Swerve, because
that'll be good.
The amount of heat that they have, like, I could not imagine what kind of stuff they're going to get into.
I guess for me, it's going to be the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for tag titles. That could be match of the night because you got House of Black, you got LFI, and FTR. Anything can happen with those teams in there. But it looks like a really good card. We also got a new signing coming this Saturday for Full Gear. Tony Khan has announced. It's
Who
not.
do you think it is?
There is some people that's been ruled out. It's not Mercedes Moné. It can't be Will Ospreay. It can't be Dolph Ziggler or anyone like that because their 90 days is not up. So I hope it's not Goldberg.
Oh,
I hope not.
Oh God,
I really don't want it. Or
I guess. Sorry, just before we finish off the the match, I forgot, and I think it's going to be a really good match. Will be MJF and Jay White. I think that's going to be a really good match, and I think I have a feeling that you're going to see the Devil Mask come out during that match, and then people are going to wonder again. They're here, so there could be some interference. I think potentially come out in that match.
Do you think they're going to do the reveal at Full Gear, or they're going to do the reveal down the line at like Revolution or like at Dynamite?
Yeah, I would think they're going to wait to the reveal, but I think there could be some interference to give you even more like who could be. Wait, so who's not around the ring? Like who's not involved in the match? And because again, I know people thought could it be the Bang Bang gang or one of them, but I don't think it is. I think I still am going with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom. I'm thinking those guys. So that way, if he comes out, people go, okay, wait, so it's not MJF because he's out there. It can't be these guys. So I think it's just going to add to it, but I think it's going to start the antagonism is going to start happening more and more.
I think we'll definitely get a Devil appearance some way or somehow. Something's going to happen in that match.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility that it could be Shawn Spears?
That's a possibility.
Thing with the Pinnacle?
They do. He has history with MJF. That would be something that they're least expecting, I would feel like. I do know Britt Baker and CM Punk was shot down, but I mean, that doesn't mean it can't be any one of them. But
I did hear that today that the guys that are actually behind the mask are the guys who they're supposed to be. It's not just like local talent they're throwing in. They're actually the guys behind the mask, which is interesting. So I guess
stuff.
Yes, if that is true, then people are going to start looking more at the body size, the body language.
That's what I was looking at. They looked like a bunch of guys from the New Japan Dojo, like Clark Connors and Kenny, the guy with the like flashy feet things on, the ones that Tyler Breeze used to wear. I forget what his name is, but
I think you're right. I think it could be Roderick Strong. Like he's acting so innocent. His neck's broken. His neck brace wearing this month. It's all this and that. But there's 5 of them. There's the Devil, the one who's in his Devil mask, and there's 4 others. Because when they first appeared, it was the Devil mask and 4 others who beat up Jay White. So there's 5 of them. They did not show that at the when they last appeared when they attacked the Acclaimed. But I think somewhere or another we'll get some type of appearance with the Devil at Full Gear.
If you're right about the Kingdom, then the other 2 guys could easily be Red Dragon.
Oh, probably.
Kyle O'Reilly is expected to make his return very soon. I just seen him post about it the other day. He's rehabbing and doing like deadlifts of 200.
I would like it to be if Adam Cole is able to do it. Adam Cole is the Devil with the Kingdom and Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly, all 5 of them.
Bobby Fish.
Yeah, Bobby Fish could be another one. I mean, where's the lie? It could be him. yeah, that's we'll definitely get some type of something with that. Like, there's no way that before all figures over, we don't get anything of that. But
Yeah.
oh, that was a really good Dynamite. We did Rampage and Collision; those are pretty decent as well. Next week we'll touch base on Full Gear. We'll cover Full Gear and all that stuff. Yeah, does anyone have anything else to say as we close out?
No, I'm good. I think it was a good week of wrestling. Looking forward to some of the upcoming wrestling. Looking forward to Full Gear, and then next week we'd always we can touch on. I know we didn't touch on anything WWE this week, so we'll kind of keep our eyes out for if there was anything worth mentioning that happens this week on the WWE. But all good for me, and I'm just looking forward to some good quality wrestling coming out.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Anything you want? Anything last touch for you, Cody?
DPW had a show recently on the 20th, and a guy by the name of Chris Danger made his debut. Lots of people know him from his playthroughs he does of all the 2K games. Just like all the Chris Danger stuff. So he got signed a year ago there. Was supposed to make his debut against Adam Cole, but Adam Cole got injured, so it got replaced. But he got really, really badly injured to the point where there was like a hole in his arm, like gaping hole, like just like it took a chunk of his skin out of his arm.
Oh, I saw that.
And I was like, okay, well that's one debut compared to like my debut. And I was like, I'm just happy I left with like all my fucking skin on my body. Like,
cool.
Yeah, that was I think you had a better debut out of that.
Yeah.
I'd at least like to come home with come home how I came in. We'll see you guys next Saturday for our next AEZ Canada episode.
Sounds good. All right, boys. Well, have a good night. Later, everybody. And that wraps up the episode 16 of AEZ Canada, all things wrestling. So have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next week.